All right. Okay. Good morning. Pretty good, thank you. All right, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Testing.
There's always a delay factor.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We got a little sound. All right. Good job, you guys. Huh? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds like it's working. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Why don't you come over here and sit on that way?
Very like by the sidelines when somebody ran in.
Morning, everybody. I'm sorry to say, unlike the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting held in Omaha this week, there's no free Dairy Queen and no Coca-Cola. So you're out of luck. We're just thankful you came to be here. You all had a packet delivered to your door last week, so that's your packet. It has an agenda on it, all approved, or at least submitted for the members, so you have that in your possession. Over the years, it's interesting how annual meetings ebb and flow. We've gotten some traditions where we've started out not official business, but things that became important to the life of the co-op, and members in the past felt we should do. So you'll notice there are some things at the beginning we want to do to set a tone, to think about the people who've gone before us, to be a part of the civic community of the country and the city, and before we call the actual meeting to order. I'm going to ask Shirley Scholand, who has been a long-time leader in the Interested Members Bible Study Group, to give us the invocation today. So Shirley, if you'll come forward, let's turn this mic on, please. I want to make sure we got... Let's get right down here to you.
Let's pray. Thank you, dear God, our Heavenly Father.
Here, Shirley, let's put that right into you. There you go. Go
Thank
ahead.
Thank you, dear God, our Heavenly Father, for this beautiful morning when we can meet together for our annual meeting. Thank you for our homes and for all of us who live here. Thank you, Jesus. And Lord, we pray that as we meet together and look back over last year, that we will be reminded of the many blessings that you give to us each day. And we pray that as we look forward, that you would help us in our planning. We thank you for the staff and the board as they work together with us in planning. Help us all, Lord, and give us kindness and patience and love as we work together, that we would have a good year. And give us an extra amount of patience for this summer when we will have some noise and construction, but we know it's all for the good. Thank you, Jesus. Now I ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Shirley. You okay?
Yep.
That's a way. The tradition has been over the years, and so I'm going to ask Janice McKinney and Wendy Bakavoy to come forward now. The tradition has been over these last years that we've taken a moment to remember the folks who have died, people who are a part of our community. They are friends, they are neighbors, they are fellow members of this place. And so we have the tradition of reading the name and striking the bell. And you ought to listen and think about the people you know and cared about in this community. So Janice, if you'll start. Let's get this right up to you.
Paul Laterack, Lois Chapman, Dave Dahl, Doretha Skip Johnson, Helen Peterson, Eleanor Larson, Angela Romero, Dorothy Hoffman, Joyce Marley, Verlin Mellum, George Wanstall, Mary Peterson, Rita Franchett, Alice Johnson, Jim Landberg, Nancy Lee, Beth Montgomery, Mary Kennedy, David Buck, Geraldine Jerry Burrell, Lois Munson.
Thank you, ladies. So you recognized a neighbor, a friend, someone you knew along the way in that list. We are in the process, of course, of coming and going, and we remember those folks who've died. Jim Peterson, who's outgoing board member this year, and vet in the service of the country, I've asked Jim if he'd do us the honor of leading the Pledge of Allegiance. Just make sure, if you're able to stand, fine. If you can't, don't worry about it. But Jim, if you'll stand, and do you want to make a quick comment, and then you have the group stand. We'll just speak right into the mic there.
Yes, please stand if you're able, and
Get right up, put
you
your
want me to
mouth
use the
on
mic?
there. Yep.
Okay. Flag is over here to your left. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Well, now we'll call the 46th annual meeting of 7500 York Cooperative to order. Just to let you know, our secretary of the board just last week had bypass surgery and is not able to be with us today. So I've asked our Vice President, Roger Johnson, to fill in on Sharon's behalf. And so I'm going to ask that we look at the determination of a quorum. So, Mr. Vice President, hearing words from the secretary and the staff, do we have a quorum for the annual meeting?
Yes, over 30% of the membership has submitted ballots. We have a quorum, and I'm pleased to declare that we have a quorum necessary for the transaction of business at this meeting.
Very good. In fact, we're in great shape. We've had a goodly number of people get their ballots in and their assent to what's going on here, so we appreciate everybody's participation. We proved that the meeting was called in good order, so notices of this meeting were mailed or distributed to all members on April the 9th in accordance with our bylaws and procedures for the 2024 annual meeting. The appropriate certification will be filed with the minutes of this meeting. We also report that the official notice that if any group or person wanted to be on the docket, they could do that. That was up on the bulletin boards for over a month. We received no requests by members to be included on the annual meeting docket, and so we will declare that closed, and we'll move on from there. So, Mr. Vice President, speaking for the Secretary, can I have a report on the agenda then that was published for the meeting?
As Vice President, I present the agenda as it is available to all the members according to the procedures for the 2024 annual meeting.
Thank you, sir. We will accept the agenda as printed in your bulletin of reports that you received in your box. In your bulletin, there was also included the minutes of last year's annual meeting. So, Mr. Vice President, a word on that as well.
The minutes of the last annual meeting, May 1st, 2023, are available to the membership in accordance with the procedures adopted for the 2024 annual meeting.
We received no corrections or additions to these minutes that are in your report packet. And so I would declare that those minutes are officially adopted. The minutes for this annual meeting will be presented next April then in your packet again for you to look at and study and to take note of as we prepare for next year's annual meeting as well. So those are important but perfunctory but important things to say, that we conduct the meetings according to our bylaws and according to the prescribed way they're set before us at this time. We have a special people who are here with us today, people who are our partners and who work with us as advisors and confidants and folks we rely on to help us in the board and all the management and what we do here. I want to introduce to you today, and some of you have met them already. If you haven't, after the meeting, you say hello to them as well. To introduce to you Nadette Walagora, who is the director of the Homeowners Associations for Ebenezer Management Services, and Melinda Johnson, who's our regional representative and is here at our meetings faithfully to give us advice, to listen, to stand with us, and we are so delighted that you two are here. So I'm going to have you come forward, bring a greeting to this community, and Melinda, speak right into the mic here, will you? Nadette, come on here. Melinda's going to do the, both of these
I
ladies
drew
can
the
do
short end
talking.
of the straw,
Yeah.
so I'm the short one. So again, we work with Ebenezer, so we do the day-to-day management with your board and your staff supporting day-to-day operations. Over the last year, we provided board training, marketing think tank, other resources for staff. John Callahan works closely with your maintenance team to make sure that this beautiful building is maintained on an ongoing basis. And then this year, again, we'll provide some training opportunities come June, as well as a marketing think tank. So a number of staff, they continue to train, as well as last fall, as you know, the current staff that you had at 7500 York transitioned to Ebenezer. And that was it was a little bit of a struggle, but it actually has gone really quite well. And I think that our team has really joined, and you have a wonderful staff here that work immensely hard for your membership and your board and your committees. So we always are very thankful for the staff ongoing. And then a big thank you to the current board as well as the new board that's coming on. As you know, your board works very, very hard at your best interests, as well as the committees that you have. There's many people, it takes many, many people to run a very large corporation that 7500 York is. So please take a moment at this time to thank them for their service. Again, there's many silent people as well. Some of you may contribute in very small ways, but what you do for your community really makes 7500 York a leader in the industry for cooperatives. So you really are looked at as the mothership of cooperatives in Minnesota as well as nationwide. So again, thank you for having us. Thank you for being a team. And we very much look forward to this coming year. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate you being here. Melinda had you recognized the board, and so let me again introduce the board of directors for this current program year. And by the way, we think about it, the fiscal year here runs January 1 to December 31, but the program year runs May 1 to April 30. So that starts with the new boards and the committees that will come on. So this last program year, the members of your board of directors were as follows. And ladies and gentlemen, will you stand, please, and stay standing, and until we've all been up as well. Jim Peterson, and Jim was the liaison to membership and marketing and the Stop and Shop committee. Bob Reed. Bob's over here. Bob was the liaison to the Resident Fund Committee and the Nominating Committee. David Price. David was the Resident Services Health and Wellness Committee and works on the Lobby and Balcony Project Committee as well. Rayanne Leaf. Rayanne's way in the back, greeted you as you came in today, the liaison to the Food Service Committee. George Fairdup. George is over here on the side over this. George is the liaison to the Property Committee. Laura Lazaire. Laura is, as is Sharon, both out for medical things today, so we are not able to have her with us today. And Sharon Barth, who is our secretary, recovering from surgery. I got a note from Sharon last night. Rich, I'm okay. I'm doing well. I'll be there as quick as I can. So down the road. So she has been working really hard at that. So we just wish her all the well. Roger Johnson, back behind me, our vice president for this year, and Rich Omland, who served as your president. So you already clapped. You guys go ahead, clap again. You bet. You guys will sit down. I'll call a couple of people up special here for a minute. Just a reminder how we do this now. There are 9 people on the board of directors. They're elected for 3-year terms, and they rotate every year. We do a third of the community. You're allowed to serve 2 3-year terms. They don't have to be in succession. They can be split apart. And so this year, 3 people ended their term for the board of directors. And Jim Peterson, George Fairdup, and myself ended our terms of the board of directors. So first of all, Jim, I want to have you stand and to say a word of thanks to you. You bet, stand up. And Jim graciously, when on the untimely death of our treasurer, David Dahl, Jim was willing to step in and serve this last year. So he's serving the unexpired term. Just so that you know, he's eligible to do 2 3-year terms, as if you really wanted to do 6 more years. You can do it. But just know that how much we appreciated, Jim, your expertise, your wisdom, and your community. You have been just a great member of our board team, so we thank you for that very much. And then I want to bring a special word on behalf of our outgoing member, George Fairdup. George has been on the board for 6 years, active in committees before that, and will remain active in the committee for next year as well. I've gotten to know George over the years. I tell you what, I count on his wisdom, his savvy, his knowledge, his ability to be a team player, and he makes things happen. I was served as vice president under George and then served with him on the board for this year. When I needed something, when I needed wisdom and counseling, I would call on him. I do not think you realize over these last 6 years on the board, 4 of them as president, how he worked hard to keep this place managed well, moving forward, despite all the complications. And as all of us on the board get, slings and arrows, some deserved, some not so deserved, of course. But he has worked tremendously, and he has given of himself and of his family time to do this job for us these last 6 years. So will you join with me in thanking George for his service to 7,500 York? You want to say something? Yeah.
It's been a privilege. It's been a privilege. Thank you.
I love it. That's great. Makes meetings fun. I want to acknowledge the folks who helped us put the meeting together today. First, Mike Anderson, our housekeeping staff, and their setup of the CAC. For our tech person today over here, Linda, thank you for doing that. We appreciate that so very much. To Mary Beth Johnson, of course, who you knew has just recently retired, and Hannah Parker, who is taking her place for help in the preparation and the dissemination of the material and the recording of the minutes and taking that part today as well. You have a printed copy of the treasurer's report, but David, we have a word from our treasurer. I've asked David Price, board member, if he would read a statement from our treasurer, Laura Lazaire.
This is Laura's statement, so I can't take credit for this, but we wish her well. Good morning. I'm here to present a short summary of the cooperative's 2023 financial results based on the audited financial statements prepared by Wipfli, the cooperative's auditor. You can find copies of the audited balance sheet and statement of operations included at the end of the annual report packet. In addition, the complete audit report is available on the cooperative's web portal and in the library. In reviewing the statement of operations, we note that operating revenues exceed operating expenses by almost $1.5 million. The most significant source of operating revenues by far is member fees, and the largest operating expense is maintenance, followed by dining room and utilities expenses. Net income, which includes non-operating revenues and expenses, is almost $250,000. In reviewing the balance sheet, we note that the cash balance is just over $95,000, an increase of $60,000 over last year. And the amount in the replacement reserve fund, the cooperative savings for capital projects, is more than $5.5 million, an increase of almost $1.5 million over last year, which is good. That's the end of Laura's report. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We are, of course, welcomed our general manager here a little over a year ago, our new general manager, Mitch Ohlendorf, and I've asked Mitch to bring some remarks from the general manager.
Well, good morning, everybody. Great to be with you on this 46th annual meeting. You all have in the packet, the annual meeting packet, my management report from Ebenezer Management Services, whom I represent, and I trust that you will read through that and hear of the good work that has been done by our staff here at the cooperative. I would particularly like to thank my looking for the right word, for my supervisory team, both Melinda and Nadette, who were up here earlier to bring greetings from Ebenezer. I have worked with them for years. They are a very valuable part of the management of this cooperative, and I just wanted to thank both of you for what you bring to our management team. I wanted to thank the board of directors for the support that they have given. I started with one board. After a few months, there was an election, last year's annual meeting, and started with a board that I think had 5 new members on it at that time. And working with the board of directors as well as committees over the past year has been my pleasure. They have been very, very supportive in the work that we are trying to do on the management team to not only manage the day-to-day operations of the cooperative, but as well as engaging in the special projects that are going on and about to go on for the cooperative. So to Rich and the rest of the board, I just wanted to extend my word of thanks. It's all about people here, and it is people on our management team that, along with all of the board, the committees, and the members, that make the cooperative work cooperatively. I especially want to thank my supervisory team, Barb Murphy, Michael Ordorf, Jake Watson, Kathy Hall, and Moran Brendel. They lead the departments here at the cooperative, and they have many others, about 24 others, working on their teams in the areas of sales and marketing, administration and technology, security, housekeeping, maintenance, as well as resident services. And it takes a lot of work, not only on the behalf of members to live here cooperatively, but on our management team to work cooperatively as well as a team and with you as well to make the cooperative function as best as possible. So again, thank you, everybody, and congratulations on this day of note.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you to all of you who are coming here today and being with us on 990 to participate in this annual meeting. Annual meetings are not glamorous, but they are necessary, first of all, to fulfill legal obligations imposed on us by our bylaws. We do this every year in May, and it says the first Monday of May, but it can be any Monday by the direction of the board, but we've stayed with the first Monday in May. It's also the culmination of the election process. The most important thing that members do is elect the people who will help guide this community and represent them in the governing process. But they're also important annual meetings, taking the time to reflect on the past year and to look forward to the future. Thanks to all of you, people who've been on interest groups, as Melinda said, in small ways that we don't even see people working, picking up, taking care, looking out for your neighbors. Thank you for the volunteers, the subcommittees of RAC, the standing committees, the board of directors. It always amazes me the number of people it takes to operate a big place like this. And what I'm always pleased by when new members are introduced is they say, we've come from other places, nobody gets us involved and nobody is as active as this community. You be as involved as you wish, what interests you. There's plenty to do. You can't do everything. Do good. All right, that's the best part along the way. It takes a lot of people to step up to the plate and get things done, and so we thank all of you. To our two management companies who are our corporate partners, Ebenezer Management Services, who actually organized this community before there was a 7500 York. Ebenezer was the ministry, the company that developed this project, the very first senior cooperative in the United States. And they've been our management company. And every year in 5-year increments, we renew the contract, the covenant between 7500 and Ebenezer Management Services. Also Morrison Living, who for the last number of years has worked as our food service directed company. I've been impressed, and I thank our general manager for making great strides in bringing us closer together and holding our feet to the fire of our two corporate entities and bringing those folks together using their resources, which I don't think we've done very well in the past. So I appreciate the responsibilities and the relationships we have. So I've been reflecting on the past program year. It was not a quiet year in Lake Wobegon, I'll tell you that. As our former general manager retired, and we welcomed the new general manager, we brought we're engaged with a whole new management style and the way folks learn and live together. We've appreciated that as a board. We've grown a lot. We've made some good strides along the way. We built a whole new leadership team, and we're changing the culture. Yes, little by little, we're making some strides. I'll say a little word later about the good things, but also the tough things that we've had to deal with along the way. We brought our new budgeting process on that was different for all of us, but we're learning. We think it's a better one. We think we're able to understand where we're going and understand where we are in terms of that whole process. We did a major study of our human relationships program and realized it was time that to give our employees a far better program that we could afford to run ourselves and to comply with in all its legal requirements. And that's why, as Melinda mentioned, we did the process of transitioning our employees to our management company, to Ebenezer, because they now become there, and we are relying on their expertise, far better than our board could give, and more time and less costly for what we're doing as we manage our employees. We renewed the process to update the governing documents of the cooperative, to bring them up to date so they serve the community better. We ended the Windows project and the renovation of the fitness center. We began 3 major projects this year. The Link project that we will see. Thank you for your prayer, Shirley. We need God's wisdom on that one, that's for sure. The rooftop air exchangers, and then the beginning of or not beginning from the committee's point of view, but working on the lower level and the second level, the refurbishment of that whole area, the public area for our community. We have done ongoing renewal of business practices and procedures. Some have caught people by surprise. I understand that. But we are making strides to be better, smarter, and more efficient and save money along the way. And then the final one, technology, technology, technology. It is, it's going to be amazing how fast things will continue to change. Someone said, you haven't seen, you better buckle in. And I said, yeah, for technology, we need to do that. At the same time, recognizing not everybody has those capabilities, we got to figure out how to live in both worlds. That's always this complicated time. In a word, it's been a year of transition. Transition means to change from one state to another. It's a process. Life is full of transitions, as we saw ultimately the transition from life to death, and we read the names of those people today. Transitions are expected and unexpected. Our lives and the life of the cooperative are full of transitions, and let me tell you, they're not going to end. They are continuing to come. In this transition, we honor the past, and we keep and renew the helpful and good things that brought us to where 7500 Cooperative is today. A community, relationships, our place in the city of Edina, the safety and quality of life, the activities, education, arts, and music. Those things are just wonderful gifts to us from people who've gone before us. But we've also had to take and continue to take a hard look at the whole past, scrape the barnacles off the ship that prevents us from dealing with the hard reality of running a multi-million-dollar business here at 7500 York in the city of Edina. Transitions are also important and healthy because they can be a bridge, a connection from what was to what will be. And the future will offer us both excitement and complexities for solving to be our life and our business here in this next year and years after at 7500 York. How do we balance the place and life cycles of all our 400 plus members, some into their century years, some barely making the 55 thing, as we look at what it takes to maintain independent living for all of those people? That is a complicated question that continues to be dealt with. We need to take a continued hard look at our entire financial structure. We've got a renewal of our mortgage. Our mortgage will come up. It's a long-range set mortgage, but it has to be renewed now. In the next few years, we've got to start planning really key for the planning of that. You can see the mortgage rates going up and down. We're never sure where they're going to end up these days. We've begun studies of our amenity structure, the structure of services that will either help or hinder us from managing this place well in the coming years. We need to restructure our governance model. It's terribly important that we get as many people involved as we can, but sometimes our governance structure encumbers us so much that we end up spinning our wheels back and forth in a system that's kind of run by Rube Goldberg, and what happens as things move along. That's what we look like sometimes. We need to do planning that considers the coming crisis of senior living communities across the United States. And if you're paying attention to the economics world and to the world of senior living all across, in all its forms, we know that we're facing a major crisis of housing, of affordability, and all the things that go with it, especially as the population continues to age and nobody's planned when Social Security, you quit at 65 and they were hoping they'd die at 67. Well, those plans are out the window, of course. So that's going to maintain and be a huge factor in what the senior community of housing looks like. We need to work hard at our vision statement. 7,500 will be a welcoming, cooperative community for persons age 55 plus that continually strives for excellence in senior independent living at a moderate price. That is a statement that will be complicated and difficult to achieve. How do we be excellent as independent living cooperative and keep things at a modest price? We're facing realities. A few years ago, a number of people gave some initial gifts to what we call the Legacy Fund. We asked them why they did it. They didn't want to have their names. Some of them gave big gifts. They didn't want their horns tooted, but they said, we wanted to be thankful for this good place. It's a good place to live and a good place to be. I trust that as we transition for the future, we continue to think about that at the forefront. A good place to live, a good place to be, a good place to share our resources, and a good place to be members of this community. Thanks for your participation this last year. We at the board have appreciated it so very much. Now, one of the things I said, one of the things we do at annual meetings is we take a look back and we say thanks and we hear what's been going on. The committees, the standing committees, who are the governing committees, and the special project ad hoc committees of the board are the things that move things forward. So Becky Leon, our first presenter today, Becky is going to bring us an update on the lobby and balcony project. So Becky, you're first, so speak into the mic, please.
Well, thank you, Rich. I feel that what he has just shared with us about transitions is a wonderful segue into what Lab 23 is all about. Lab 23 stands for Lobby and Balcony, which was established by the board in 2023 for the renovation, refurbishing of the lobby and balcony, including the stairway. The board also selected a number of members to become part of this ad hoc committee. And at this point, I would like to just identify who they are. Connie Blum, Therese Eisenhuth, Gwen Ludwig, David Price, Bev Reed, Barbara Rose, Kathleen Sverdrup, and myself as chairperson. When the board developed this ad hoc committee, they gave these members a scope from which to work. This scope includes, 1, the replacement of the floor covering in the lobby, stairway, and balcony, refurbish or replace the furniture, renovate the security area, and construct a secure package, storage, and delivery area. Not included in the footprint of this project is the CAC, the social room, the York room, or the resident hallways. The committee decided that we are going to look at this project in 3 phases, and 2023 was phase 1. And in this phase, we, as a committee, did a lot of exploration on how other senior facilities are handling things like the influx of many, many packages, how they are handling security, and just getting an overall feel of how other lobbies look. It is very, very evident that as the committee members return to 7500 York, we all unanimously said, we love our place. But we know there are things that need to be done. If you looked at all the packages that were out in the storage in the front area this weekend, we need to find a place to put them. So that was a part of phase one, but a very important part of phase one was finding a design firm to help us. 3 design firms were invited to come to 7500 and to take a look at the balcony and the lobby area and understand the scope with which we are working. After they had had a chance to go back and put together a proposal, they then came to our committee and presented a formal presentation of their proposal. After the ad hoc committee had had a chance to listen to that, a ballot was presented where unanimously we selected Van Man Architects and Builders to be our design firm. We then went to the board for their approval. This approval was given in November. That completed phase one, which really was the bulk of the work in 2023. And I'll take just a minute to explain what phase 2 and 3 will look like, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Phase 2 is the architectural design phase. We are now currently reviewing design proposals that Van Man is giving us. When we select the final design plan with all the necessary construction and pricing documents, we will then go to the board for their approval. When that approval is given, we then start phase 3, which is the phase you will see. It will be the construction, the implementation of all that we have worked on. We are pleased with the progress so far, and we look forward to sharing with you the design as it becomes more defined. Thank you.
In your packet, you'll read a report about the completion of the fitness center. The chair of the ad hoc committee said, "Rich, I do not want to be my horn tooted or get up." And I said, I understand that, but I'm going to toot her horn anyway. Our thanks to the fitness ad hoc committee and Judy Schertz on completion of that. So thank you so very much. Now, let's take a look at the reports of the standing committees. Each of you have a designated spokesperson, usually the chair of the committee. We've got one sub today because of an appointment at the physician, I think, or something. So we want to say thank you. First of all, thank you to these folks who've served as chair people, worked hard this whole year to work on their committee work and their actions and all the things they've spent so much time on. So we'll start right at the top with Kathleen Hansen, the chair of the Finance Committee.
Thank you.
Yeah, pull that down. There you go. That's
Vertically challenged I am. The investment market has been good to us in 2023, allowing for growth in assets for the cooperative. Maxine Rossini has been approved to add the investing of the general operating reserve account to the accounts that she invests in CDs and treasuries. Each month, we review the financial balance of accounts and income statement to watch where they are in relationship to the budget. Our investment advisor had a name change this year from Siegel, Bryant, and Hamel to Corient. They continue to provide us with quarterly review of our investments. Nan Gruby and Jim Bratley took on a project of cost versus benefit analysis of our many services provided, including the restaurant, Stop and Shop, and van, among the others that are run by the various committees. The result proved how important our structure is to our community. The Windows project was completed successfully under the leadership of Gene Heyman, coming in under budget. The Finance Committee had much discussion regarding the suggested member annual fees for 2024. We accepted the decreased amount of 8.4% from the 10.4% proposed. We reviewed the 5-year capital budget plan for 2024 projects, including the water intrusion, fitness center, Lab 23, and rooftop air handling projects. The annual audit of our financials was recently completed by Wifley. Members of the Finance Committee included Edie Johnson, Jim Bratley, Dick Hansen, Maxine Rossini, Peter Ludwig, Nan Gruby, Vice Chair, and me as Chair. Thank you.
Connie, you're next. Connie, Chair of the Membership and Marketing and Membership, Connie Blum. Make sure we get right here, Connie. There you go.
Thank you. 2023 was a very busy and productive year for membership and marketing. 49 units were involved in transition and closing. And in 2023, membership and marketing conducted 26 tours/open houses. So about twice a month, a group of 5 to 18 people came to tour York and consider moving into our residence. In addition to a tour, prospective members or buyers were also shown an 8A unit, a B2, and a C. And it's really important for us to remember that the people who come here to look are looking at all kinds of places. So having this opportunity to market is really valuable. On October 5th, the Waitlist annual gathering was held, the first time since before the pandemic. Thank you to the 25 homeowners who graciously opened their units and welcomed the Waitlist people, our future neighbors. This past year, there have been 102 reservations, which means $350,000 in waitlist deposits. Also in 2023, there was over $1 million of building improvements because of apartment renovations, buyers paying the greatest proportion of the costs, doing things like upgrading floors and appliances, adding new kitchen cabinets, and so forth. A big thank you to Jean Lopez, our on-site refurbishing coordinator. Having her services is an incredibly strong marketing tool. And also a shout out of thanks to Frank Wilson and Brad Wright, who work so diligently renovating and refurbishing the apartments. A thank you to Barb Murphy, who is absolutely invaluable. Thank you to Mary Beth Johnson and to Hannah Parker for their role in marketing 7500 York. And finally, thank you to those who served on the Membership and Marketing Committee.
Thank you, Connie. Alice, if you'll come. I'm telling you, this is what I call devotion to duty. She's coming off a little accident, surgery, and going to give her a report. So Alice Broadstead has served as the chair of the Food Service Committee. Let's pull this around, Alice. Come right. You okay?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I know you probably wonder, when I joined the committee a year ago, I had no clue what it did. And you may not either. But we have a very excellent group of 8 people, and we're learning as we go. Mary Lund is listed as my co-chair, and unfortunately, she had to leave the committee due to a health situation. Carrie Sandgren will replace her in June. Our purpose is to advocate for our residents and to promote all things York Room, utilizing 990, the York Times, the monthly calendar, and elevator notices. So if you think you're seeing constant info on York Room meals, special events, etc., you are right. And we're resurrecting some activities that were so successful BP, before pandemic. You are right again. This includes floor dinners, birthday dinners, catering meals to outside groups, and so forth. The York Room has operated in the red for a long time, but that is reversing under the new sheriff in town, Mitch Ohlendorf. He and Rich have been working with Morrison Group to improve the financial picture. Our committee learned a few months ago that increased resident participation in the York Room simply wasn't enough. Expenses have to be lowered measurably. The 3-month trial of a 5-day a week dining room operation starting in June may do the trick. Results will be carefully evaluated to learn how the restaurant moves forward in the fall. In the meantime, our marvelous new dining room director, Nick Hickey, will initiate a monthly dining room forum with residents to identify ways to make the York Room what residents want. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Thanks very much. Don Perlick's been the chair of the Property Committee. The Property Committee has done a yeoman's work this year. So, Don, you're next.
Thank you. I'm glad to see such a great big group. I hope that you were all at the April 17th meeting where Rich and Mitch and Michael explained in an hour-long program what we've started for your improvement in the North Plaza. And so my limited time is 2.5 minutes. So I'm hoping that all of you heard their presentation. It was excellent, giving you all the details of the project and the noise and the smell that you're going to experience this summer. But anyway, I'll just give you a quick rundown on the project. We've talked about it because we've had this problem for quite a while, but because of COVID and the window project, we have had to stand back and wait and just take care of other emergencies. And so now we've planned, we began by hiring, listening to 3 engineers who have experience with intrusive water problems. And we chose one, and she has 25 years of experience with this kind of a problem. And so she has gone through and made a tentative plan that we put out for bids, and we took 3 bids, and we picked one of those bids, and as you were told, it's expensive, $2,010,000 plus other expenses. The other project we have is the heating and cooling machines that we have on the roof. We have 4 of them, and since Michael has been here, he's had some big expenses with 2 of those units. So rather than buying just 2 units, we've decided to replace all 4 of them because of the cost savings, because of he's afraid that we're going to have the same problems with the 2 that haven't had the problems yet. So we've ordered 4. We took bids and they came in at $615,000. So we're getting close to $3 million. But thank goodness the members of the board of directors years ago had the foresight to begin putting money aside for replacement of equipment as it wore out. And so there won't be any assessment for this project, but it will be $3 million at least. Our committee has been real busy, and we've acquired 2 new members because 2 of us are going off. Betty Stacy, who is the chair of the landscaping committee, will join, and George Sturdrup has volunteered to stay on and he's been elected as chair of the committee. The rest of the committee is Ron Tollefsrud, Dick Plenka, Brett Tabor, Rich Rockeford, and Leonard Addington. Thank you.
The chairperson for RAC is Julie Omland.
Hello. I'm going to take leave for a moment to say a special, specific thank you to a group that has not been thanked so far today, and that is the spouses, partners of those members on the board. I know well what that means, and I would like to say a special thank you to Kathleen Sverdrup, who has put in 6 years as a spouse who has to deal with unpredictable routine. I see the 2 of them walking, and they smile now at each other, and they look so relaxed. Thank you so much for all of that time. We have 16 committees that work as resident activities subcommittees, and so I have a little bit about each one of those committees to report. You also have this in your report, so I'm going to speed read as much as I can. The first committee is Big Screen Committee, chaired by Carol Torgrud. And as I read these reports, think about how many people it takes to make all of the activities and events happen in this building that are under the Resident Activities Committee. It takes a lot of people, so count them up in your head. This committee provides DVDs in the hobby room, and their records indicated 736 movies that were viewed by residents in their apartments over this past year. In 2023, this committee showed 29 movies in the CAC, sometimes with discussion after the movie was shown. They continue to show movies in 2024 with current movies that draw larger numbers of viewers. Because some movies are longer, they have occasionally provided matinee showings. Attendance at their viewings ranged from 40 residents to 65 residents. The Bulletin Board Committee is chaired by Carol Alden. This committee typed and posted the coming events in the elevators and on the community boards near the elevators. They held meetings in the York Room for breakfast and found time to carry on business while waiting for breakfast orders to arrive. Their latest innovation is a sticky spray that goes on those boards in the elevators and makes changing out the postings much easier. The Excursion Committee was co-chaired by Alice Holzer and Kate Olson. The 6 people on this committee all share responsibility for organizing and leading the monthly excursions on the 3rd Thursday of the month. They usually include lunch somewhere near the excursion destination, and they make use of the 7500 York van and driver. They could use more members, so there's a chance and opportunity for volunteering. Floral Committee, co-chaired by Shar Carlson and Bev Anton. Committee members pick up flowers from Trader Joe's on Mondays and Saturdays mornings. They come together in the hobby room and then create at least 6 beautiful floral arrangements for the common areas in the building. Residents often were able to receive plants and small arrangements from this group as well. Fitness Committee chaired by Judy Schertz. This committee and the Ad hoc Fitness Committee have worked hard to refurbish and maintain the fitness room, enhanced with new carpet, paint, and some new equipment. 2 new classes for dumbbell and Zumba were added in the exercise rotation, with the total number of resident participants, and listen to this number, in exercise classes over this year, numbering 3,255. That's a big number. A fun event sponsored this last summer or fall was the Summer Olympics, co-sponsored by the Fun and Games Committee. The Fun and Games Committee was chaired by Carrie Sandgren, and this 12-person committee, with the support of other volunteers, sponsored at least 15 games on a regular basis, many of which take place on our balcony area. Once a month bingo is included in those games. 10 dances were held in the CAC, and some with bands and some with the dance instructor. The committee encouraged new participants by teaching several games up on the balcony. They also offered special games and events throughout the year, some of which were outdoors. The Garden Committee, co-chaired by Mary Boyd and Tony Palinka, relate that most of the garden plots were claimed by residents who gardened throughout a hot and dry summer. City of Edina provided compost for our gardens, and both garden areas had some soil bug or pest problems, with rabbits plaguing the west gardens. The Garden Committee continues to work hard to combat these problems, and they ended their season last year with a garden fair in September. The Hobby Committee was chaired by Marie Sandbo, and this committee maintains the hobby room and provides the activity groups that are there, the interest groups, quilters, artists, knitters, card recyclers, space to work and be in their activities. Each of the activity groups met on a regular basis for conversation and work time on their chosen crafts. And then other groups use that by placing their time frames on the calendar there. The Library Committee, chaired by Sharon Lander, has 23 members on their committee, and they organize and maintain 3 library areas in our building. They place and maintain the lobby and table books and magazine rack on the balcony. They obtain 75 books from the Hennepin County Library every 3 months for checkout and return by residents, and they provided Ethnic Week books, also from Hennepin County Library. When the holiday fair occurred in November, the Library Committee had a book sale, raising money to buy new books. The Life Enrichment Committee, which was chaired by Linda Connolly, has 15 members on their committee. They coordinate presentations in the CAC that include several authors, government officials, resident speakers, and varied presentations topics from global health ministries to Minnesota brewing history. Audiences have ranged from 50 to 80 residents, and residents also listen to their programming over 990. Both kinds of audiences are welcome, but the committee continues to find ways to have large live audiences. The Men of York, chaired by Tim Olson, expanded their Saturday social hours to a year-round function, with attendance averaging around 40 members. They have purchased a grill and provided some barbecues for the residents during the summer. They also help coordinate the Veep Charitable Fund Drive in the fall. And they occasionally help out with other things on call from other groups. Music and Arts Committee, chaired by Emily Odie. This committee sponsored 32 programs during this past year, including 2 summer programs on the North Plaza. Total attendance, and this is a big number again, 2,332 residents. Pianos in the CAC, the social room, and the lobby are maintained. This committee revived a resident choir, the New York Singers, and several smaller ensembles that provide music. The Readers Theater Group is also on line to be revived soon. Neighbor Awareness Committee, chaired by Jeannie Eggleston, and this is a 12-member committee divided into 5 subcommittees to provide floor coffees, building tours, new resident coffees, good cheer, cards and notes, and low vision gatherings for reading of the York Times. All their events are available to all residents, and they provide many ways for us to stay continued in connection with the community here, even when we're in hospitalization or in transition care. The Newsletter Committee, chaired by John Ramsey, organized and published our monthly York Times newsletter successfully. They wrote materials for the newsletter, but also gathered articles from residents and other committees, from board members, from staff. Jackie Sorensen and Kara Glassgold have been the publishers of the actual newsletter over this past year. The Workshop Committee, chaired by Charles Jensen, has 23 members working in that workshop downstairs, and they provided 380 hours of work time on resident needs and projects, with the most common repair being electrical items such as lamps. They also provided 315 hours of project time for the cooperative, working on needs such as the repair of the creche, maintaining the grill and the popcorn machine, and repairing chairs used throughout the building. They work on individual projects and host an annual open house for residents. The York Room Committee, co-chaired by Jackie Matson and Sandy Swagel. This is 8-member committee decorating in the York Room for 23 seasonal holiday and special events. They rotate artwork displayed throughout the dining room and the large floral bouquets displayed in the dining room entrance. They deliver York Room muffins to new residents, and they plan and execute new resident dinners and monthly birthday dinners. These activities involved over 250 residents. There is no way that a single person can make everything that happen on Resident Activities Committee, and it's been a joy to have Margie Ragatz as my vice chair for this last year, and she's carrying on as the new chair of the RAC Committee. So thank you, Margie.
Becky Leon and Barbara Rose are the chairs of the Furnishings Committee. Yeah, get her down there.
I get it down. Another vertically challenged person here. Furnishings Committee is responsible for the furnishings and decor of the common areas of the building. As stated in the standards for the order of the common areas, adopted by the board in 2023, the Furnishings Committee is responsible for implementing the standards for the lobby and balcony, which includes residential hallways and unit entrances, guest rooms, boardroom, social room, CAC, community computer area, laundry rooms and lounges, entry mats in the main garages, and common area restrooms, excluding those in the garage and York Room, as well as the artwork in these common areas. Also, the committee coordinates the decorating of all common areas for the holiday season. The main expenditure for the year was the purchase of 2 new leather chairs, replacing 2 worn chairs in the quiet space on the 5th floor. Thank you to the Social Room Committee as a subcommittee of furnishings, co-chaired by Barbara Larson and Val Michael. The Social Room Committee monitors and maintains an attractive and enjoyable community social space for the residents' use. They ensure that the social room is clean, well-equipped, and welcoming for each new event. A special thanks to Barbara Murphy and Michael Ordorf, our staff representatives, and Roger Johnson, the board liaison, for assisting the Furnishings Committee throughout the year. The members of the Furnishings Committee were Linda Conley, Therese Eisenhuth, Gwen Ludwig, Lois Munson, and Jane Ramsey, with Becky Leon and Barbara Rose serving as co-chairs.
Doug Palmer, appreciate Doug's taking on the role of the chair of the Archives Committee.
Well, greetings from the Archives Committee. First of all, I want to thank our remaining members and some new members that joined this year. Remember, the mission of the Archives Committee is to collect, archives, and then share this information with residents, staff, and other people that are interested. This year we did do a couple new things. One of them is we started to archive activities of the RAC group, which had never been done before. The second thing we tried to do is have an open house where people could have a chance to see what the archives room actually looks like. And also we've had a chance to try an article on the newsletter each month, trying to raise a little visibility about the 7500 York experience. We all are a part of this experience, and we hope that the archives can share with you. Again, our catchphrase is preserve our history, join the Archives Committee. I want to thank all of my colleagues for help and wish you all a good day.
Thank you, Doug. The next resident services, health and wellness. Gene Wallner, who is the chair, is not able to be here today. So Carol Voss, Carol, are you here speaking on behalf of Jean? Well, there you go. I knew I'd seen you somewhere in this place, so.
Thank you, Rich. I am Carol Voss, and I'm a member of the Resident Services, Health, and our Wellness Committee. And as we have all been sitting for such a long time, and I'm with Health and Wellness, I thought maybe we should all stand up and do exercises.
All right, we'll stand up, yeah.
Thank you. Our competent committee chair, the past year, Jean Wallner, asked me to write our annual report, which you find printed on your annual meeting agenda. So there's no excuse. You can all read my report and everyone else's reports. Kathy Hall, known to all of us as a licensed social worker, has also been the director of our Resident Services Committee, Health and Wellness. She is very competent and very skilled in organizing all of our informative programs, classes, and events relating to health and wellness. She is Superwoman. I also want to thank David Price. He has been our liaison from the board of directors, also helped organize and created storage systems for our 7th floor medical equipment room. Everyone, please read all of these wonderful articles written by all of our committee chairs and volunteers. No wonder 7500 York is such a special place to live when you realize all the hard work, energy of their soul going for the benefit of 7500 York. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you very much. Donna Hips and Anita Jones have been the chairs of the Stop and Shop Committee. Anita, are you coming to do the report? Here, let me come give you a hand.
Well, been sitting too long.
I understand. I understand.
Thank
There you go. Make sure you get close to the mic now.
Okay.
There you
I want to thank our continuing members for their contributions and welcome the new members. I know they'll bring great ideas to Stop and Shop next year. Thanks also to Jim Peterson, the board liaison, Amy Blaze, the grocer, and Jake Watson, Director of Administration and Technology, who all attended and reported at each of our meetings. Jake has been instrumental in many changes that occurred this past year. Physically, the shop has been painted. Days of operation have been reduced to Monday through Friday. The coffee supplier is now the same as for the building. Store inventory is ordered from Target and Sam's Club and picked up by the 7500 van driver. Another major improvement is the ability to charge all purchases to our apartments. No need to carry cash when shopping. And notices on the bulletin boards and on 990 remind all to use the Stop and Shop.
The ladies' social has been changed from 11 a.m. to 9:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And we also help with the quarterly inventory. We encourage each of you to use the store. It's an amenity that is rare in senior housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Ben Janowski. Ben's the chair of the resident fund, so Ben, if you'll come bring your report here as well.
Well, I too have been sitting too long. It's a long time to listen to the reports. I'll make it quick if I can. The Resident Fund was established several years ago with two purposes. Number one, to provide a means for members to make donations, and secondly, to provide a fund to be used for financing projects that are not funded by regular budgeting. Many of our cooperative members give memorial gifts to the fund, and several people who have left 7,500 had sales, like estate sales, and donated the income to the fund. Another fundraiser is the annual holiday fair, which is the sale of baked goods, coffee, etc. You can watch for this event, which comes up in the fall. Two members of the committee completed their terms, Barb Larson and Jean Paulson. Several members volunteered for the committee, and the committee chose Dorothy Milbrandt and Ken Ullman to serve on the committee beginning in May of this year. The past couple of years, the fund has provided financing for several projects, including a new piano, a new barbecue grill, help with the 990 project, a new machine in the fitness room, and a study on the west side garden, and also a storage shed for the east garden. A thank you to everyone who has supported the Resident Fund Committee. If anyone has ideas or thoughts for projects, please discuss them with the appropriate committee or myself, and we can pursue the possibilities. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Now, the committee that has the most impact just right now in this meeting today has been doing hard work. Wanda Schultz is the chair of the nominating committee. So, Wanda, you got to bring your report here. And thank you and your committee for all their good work.
Well, thank you, Rich. The nominating committee is made up of 9 members representing each of the 9 floors. The cooperative established an election process, begins in January with our first meeting, ends in May with the annual meeting. We follow the same process every year. In January, the first letter containing the nomination form is sent to all cooperative members. We are all asked to submit names we believe would be good board members. The form is returned early in February. A candidate list is compiled. In February, all nominees are asked to respond as to whether or not they wish to be candidate. Those interested are asked to include a resume with their response. In March, nominees are notified they've been selected to run for the board. The slate of candidates is completed and resumes are delivered to all cooperative members. In April, the candidates are introduced on 990 and at the candidates meeting in the CAC. Their photos are displayed in the lobby and the ballots are distributed the second week of April. The counting of ballots is done after the annual meeting and results are available later in the day. I want to thank all the candidates for their willingness to serve on the board and the nominating committee members for participating in our election process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wanda, and thank that committee. We appreciate people taking that time to be a part of that governance. So the last item to do then is to just reframe the election. The voting for the directors, the nominating committee has submitted the following 5 candidates for the 3 open positions on the board. 3 candidates will be chosen, and the 5 candidates, and you've met them, Carol Alden, Linda Conley, Don Hutchison, Rich Omland, and Joanne Sorbell. And so you have cast your ballots. We've also, in this ballot, had 2 proposals from the Board of Directors voting on the board has submitted the amended and restated bylaws and the amended and restated articles of incorporation, and for the membership to vote on. The votes are now closed. There is the whole group of votes ready to be counted by a team of voters that the board has sought out and given its approval for. But I want the chief election judge we've appointed is Carol Hegre, and also Bev Anton, Mary Friedman, Jean Heyman, Carolyn Houlihan, and Jerry Thompson. Is there a motion to approve the judging committee? Hearing a motion, is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second? There's a second. All in favor of approving this committee to count the ballots, say aye. Very good, and they will do that. They will give official notice at 4 p.m. on Channel 990 with the counting of the amended and restated bylaws and the articles of incorporation. That's a different kind of structure than the board members. The board members is pretty obvious what we have to do. We have to make sure we meet requirements of the bylaws, and we'll let you know, or the committee will let us all know how things go at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So I want to thank you all for attending this 46th annual meeting of the cooperative community. We thank you for being here and for standing up and sitting down. We appreciate that. And for all the folks who make good things happen. I declare the meeting adjourned.